Hey guys, Upstand here, and today we're going to actually do two things. We are going to talk about a topic, Dragon Claws, which have been a big topic of debate for today, and we're also going to try a Gargoyles task, which I haven't done in a very long time because they were a very shitty task for a very long time, other than when the game pretty much just came out and, Granite Malls were still worth quite a bit. Apparently they buffed Gargoyles in terms of their drops, which sound really nice, so I'm going to go try it. I recently unblocked them from my Slayer tasks, so we're going to try those out, and that'll be the kind of what you'll be watching for this video. I'm trying to melee them. I have been ranging mostly from Slayer, and I haven't got a range level recently, but for this we're going to try melee because I think I could use the defense. I bought Tassets recently, finally, which I didn't really need for anything. I mean, Tassets are a pretty useless item, really. Like, they're obviously they're extremely useful, but there's nothing you can't replace them with. Like, you can just replace them with a Varrock Skirt, which has even better defense. It's just degradable, which costs you a little bit of money, and they don't have a strength bonus, which people love, and I love my strength bonus as well. So it's fun to have full bandos, but it's not really a necessary thing. So yeah, Dragon Claws, it was announced today in the developer blog that one of the rewards for raiding, which is an upcoming thing to Old School, will have a reward of Dragon Claws if people vote for it. So this is a very kind of... What's back here, by the way? Is this the underground pass? That's really cool. I kind of like how so many games work like that, where you have to keep things in the same plane, so you can... And sometimes it ends up where you can see things from other things. That's really odd. Anyway, so yeah. Dragon Claws may be coming to Old School if it passes a poll, which I believe is 75% needed to pass, unless they've changed it or something. It's been a while. But I'm pretty divided on the issue, so what I did is I wrote out a list of pros and cons, which you guys can take a look at. If you want, I'll also post a picture of this in the description, because I might be clicking off this a bit to do my Slayer task here. But anyway, so some of the pros I thought of, and I just thought I'd make this list to lay it out very simply. Normally, you guys know I don't tend to do a ton of preparation for my videos, and this isn't exactly a ton of preparation, but I figured I'd do it just to kind of lay my thoughts out easier, because there's a lot to talk about. So one of the major things is a very fun spec weapon. Dragon Claws, if you don't know how they work, they're whip speed, unless they've changed that, which I don't think they have. It seems like there's been a lot of suggestions to have Dragon Claws come back in a nerfed format, which doesn't seem to be what they're going with here. There was something about Abyssal Claws people mentioned, like a nerfed version, but that doesn't seem to be a topic of conversation anymore. I also do have the thing from quite a while ago where you can kill the Gargoyles instantly, which is really nice, because using the hammer on them every time is extremely frustrating. So that's fun, if you're going to go play Castle Wars or something, Dragon Claws would be certainly a super, super fun thing to have. Another thing that I like about them is its high-level content, which is something that this game definitely needs. Because when RuneScape was around in 2007, there was not many high-level players. There was obviously a decent amount, but most players were noobs. Most people were... A level 80 was considered a high level at some point back then when I used to play. So you can get the idea now that there's so many 126s and everything that... Like, let's see, this guy's 120, this guy's 113... So you can see that people are better at the game because Old School generally has an older audience than RuneScape did back then, and we play the game just naturally a little bit more efficiently. We're a little bit higher level, and we're better at the game, so we need more high-level content. Because someone actually had a really good comment on one of my videos recently that said Old School has very good low-level content and very good mid-level content, but it has a severe lack of high-level content, which I think is not... It's not fully true anymore because of all the updates. Like God Wars Dungeon, for example, is a great example of high-level content. But it is somewhat true. Some of the most fun you'll have in RuneScape is when you first make your account and you're starting off, you're doing all the quests, you're trying to be able to wear a rune plate body, you're trying to wear Borrow's gloves. But then once you get all that, it kind of settles down and there's not as much to do. For example, with me, one of my only goals right now is just to get 99 Slayer and 99 range. There's nothing, not really big new armor I want or anything like that. The game does settle down as well, so that's kind of just something to think about, that high-level content is not necessarily a bad thing, especially when so many of our players are very good at what they do. So let's go through these more. So this one's kind of a mixed bag. It's a good use of money for high-level players. For example, there's so many people who just have like 100 mil in their bank and there's something really to spend it on. that'll be something for them to spend it on. Is this 3K? Let's see. Oh, I should probably be picking up these drops. So 10,000. Holy crap. Oh Jesus. This is a lot of gold ore. I guess I was just assuming that these drops were going to be shit because I'm not used to it. Let's see how many death runes. Wow, 15. That's really good actually. I should get rid of these monkfish. And I have barely eaten any food so far, so that's pretty good. So yeah, that's the thing is they're eventually probably going to settle down to a reasonable price where a lot of people can afford them. So it's not really a long-term solution, whereas if you had like a rare item like party hats or something in the main game, that's something that's always going to be super valuable and it's always going to be going up in price, and that's like a good investment for high-level players, whereas Dragon Claws are not going to be much of an investment. Like I bought Bandos Tassets the other day, like I said, they're like 26 mil, but they're not always going to be 26 mil. They're going to go down in price eventually. It's not a huge investment in the long run that's going to earn me money or anything. For example, really any item that you can get as a drop or something or as a reward is going to go down in price eventually. For example, in RuneScape 3, I still have my Divine Spirit Shield, which is something like 30 mil or something now. I could be wrong. It's been a long time since I've really played RuneScape 3 seriously, or really ever, because I pretty much stopped playing that game when EOC came out. Not to say that I don't have respect for people who enjoy it. If you enjoy it, that's certainly a good thing. But when I bought my Divine Spirit Shield back in like 2011 or something, it must have been like something like a bill or something I paid for it, something ridiculous like that. And now it's like 30 mil. So that's a good example of how, oh my god, these drops are amazing. That's a good example of how items that you can keep getting are always going to go down in price eventually. So Dragon Claws will go down in price eventually, I think, but for a while it'll be a good investment for, or not a good investment, but something for high-level players to put some money on, rather than just have huge cash stacks. So then we can talk about PKing, and that's a very mixed bag. So it would certainly add some variety to PKing. It's fun to have a big variety of items for PKing. Right now we have the Dragon Dagger, we have the AGS, we have the BGS, we have Dragon Longsword and Dragon Mace, which aren't very popular, but they have some role in there. So it'll be another fun spec weapon, another heavy-hitting weapon, which would certainly make PKing more fun, at least in that sense. So that might be interesting to try. Also, it's probably going to be expensive. Dragon Claws, I think, were 30 mil at one point for a very long time, at least over 20 mil. So it's not like every level 70 player wearing D-hide and stuff is just going to be able to get Dragon Claws. I'm sure it's going to be at least limited for a very long time. So you don't have to worry about every single noob out there having Dragon Claws because they're 300k and all that. I'm sure it's going to be hard to get them. So that's the pros, and there's certainly more, and you guys can think of more and let me know in the comments. After I go through all these, I'll probably give my opinion, which I think I have made up my mind for now, but for now I'll be neutral. So the cons, they're extremely powerful. They're much faster to do 2 specs with than the AGS. Dragon Claws can kill someone in like 2 seconds, just like snap, they're dead. The thing with AGS, why AGS is not actually that powerful, is because it's a God Sword and there's a very long delay between the 2 specs. So the system of speed that I use generally says that a whip is a speed of 6, a higher number being faster, and a God Sword is a speed of 4, which is the speed of a battle axe, which is actually a little bit faster than a normal 2H sword, which normally has a speed of 3, which is half a whip or half a skimmy. But just to give you an idea of how the specs work with an AGS, I'll show you with the SGS, which is somehow actually worth a lot more than the AGS, which is very unusual to me. I have to clear up some inventory though. But watch how much time this Gargoyle in theory could have to eat in between these 2 specs. So there's 1, and then, okay, that's actually not a good example, but the normal hits will work as well. So here's 1 spec, and then let's just pretend this is going to be the 2nd spec. Look how much time passed between those 2 hits. That would give you time to eat a shark, then a Sarabrew, and then probably another shark, and almost get to full HP between the 2 specs. So AGS is not really super overpowered. It's overpowered in the sense that, yes, occasionally you'll just hit a 70 and, oh wow, I'm on Lunars. Shit, I shouldn't have brought Alks. Occasionally you'll just hit a 70 and just kill someone, but that's rare, and you do have a lot of time to prepare for an AGS spec, especially if you're just using the AGS. If you're switching to the AGS, it's a little better because your attack speed is based on the last weapon you hit with, so you can use like a whip and then you switch to an AGS for the spec. That actually works pretty well, but I don't think an AGS is overpowered, and its price right now, which is significantly lower than an SGS, kind of shows that it's not overpowered. But Dragon Claws, you might survive the first spec, but you're barely gonna have time to eat before the second spec. The only thing you're really gonna have time to do is teleport, which unfortunately is a very popular thing. Or the Ring of Life. The Dragon Claws will very frequently activate the Ring of Life because of the multi-hit nature of it. But Dragon Claws are also way more powerful because they're super accurate. They'll always, occasionally, yes, they'll hit a, just 2 zeros and 2 1s, but almost always they hit something decent, and it's very, very dangerous. So rushing and PJing is also a big factor here. I'm not gonna lie, I made videos in the past of rushing, and I used to do rushing for fun. I had a lot of fun with rushing, actually. I would go out into the wilderness in like 2010, 2011 with full Vesta, Fire Cape, Max Strength, Berserker Ring Imbued, Dragon Claws, AGS, Ice Barrage. I had all sorts of fun with rushing, and you guys can go back and watch my rushing videos if you want to see all the fun I had there. I was actually watching through some of them recently just for a little bit of nostalgia. Yeah, rushing in general, I would say most people don't seem to like rushing unless you're actually doing the rushing yourself. So that's going to be annoying, trying to get PK, and then people are going to spec you out during claws. And even worse is PJing when you're in a fight with someone and then you're on the offense, they're eating, and then you just get specced out and die. Your fight interrupted and you're probably dead as well. So that's also not so great. The other thing is it's also bad for the combat triangle. Melee is already pretty powerful as it is, and I like the things they've done for... Oh, I still have Piety on. I like the things they've done for magic and range since the last few years. They've certainly evened it out a lot, but I think this could be a step in the wrong direction there in terms of making melee not too powerful. And this is someone who definitely prefers melee as their main combat style. Also, they're not going to be nerfed in any way, which is a bit surprising. You would think they'd make them a little bit less strong. Maybe the spec wouldn't be quite as accurate, or maybe you wouldn't be able to spec twice right away, which would be a big nerf, and maybe it doesn't necessarily need to be that. But it's a bit surprising that they're not going to be nerfed in any way. And they're pretty much often impossible to tank. Unless you can get Prey Melee on, your really only option is to teleport. So that's pretty much my pros and cons. If you guys have any more, please let me know. I'd be interested to hear anything. Maybe there's something big I'm missing, or maybe there's something I'm not understanding. Of course, I used Dragon Claws for a very long time on the original RuneScape, and I also did Tormented Demons for quite a long time, but I never did actually get a Dragon Claw drop, which kind of sucked. But I think in my next video, you guys will be seeing some of the drops I've gotten recently, which I can't really complain about, which include a Bandos pet, actually. I should have brought that for this video as a little teaser for the next video. But yeah, I actually did get a Bandos pet recently. But yeah, so overall, my decision is that I actually don't think I'll be voting yes for Dragon Claws. I think they are a little bit too powerful. They're not very balanced. They're going to create big problems for PKing and just the balance of the game in general. And I don't know, it doesn't feel right to me in terms of keeping the game old school and not having shit that's overpowered. Karasi Sword I think might have even been worse, just because it's like 50k and it hits like a 50 no matter what. It hits through Prey Melee. So I don't think it's quite as bad as something like that, but I think they're a little bit too powerful, and I don't think the game needs them just yet, especially when the defensive side of the game has not evolved in the same way. We don't have armor that takes off percentage of damage, or we don't have unicorns or stuff like that that gives you extra HP constantly. So Dragon Claws in the old school environment will be very, very dangerous. So that's just my opinion. If they do come to the game, I don't think I'll complain too much. I think I'll probably eventually get some and have some fun. I'm not going to quit or anything like that. I'm not that passionate about this, but yeah, I do think I'll be voting no on Dragon Claws, and I do think you should as well, but I personally suggest that you exercise your own opinion. Don't just vote no because I'm telling you to. Definitely think for yourself, and also please let me know if you have any particular reasons why you disagree, or if you agree. I'd be very interested to hear in the comments. Just because you disagree with something you don't need to get angry about it, especially this time of year. A lot of people seem to think that way, but doesn't necessarily need to be the case. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think about Dragon Claws. Should we have them? Should we not have them? It's up to you guys in the end. And like this video if you enjoyed, if you agree with any of my points here, even if you don't agree with my final message in general, subscribe for more videos. This will be my 4th RuneScape video coming back in the last 2 weeks or so, so I'm doing pretty good about that. I'm definitely having some time to play on weekends for sure, which has worked out pretty nice, and hopefully continuing along this steady pace of playing RuneScape and just honestly having quite a lot of fun with the game in recent weeks. So yeah, that's about it for this video, guys. And also join my clan chat. No one's in it right now other than me, but if you would like to, you can join the clan chat at AndrewAJT62, same as my YouTube name. And you could also follow me on Twitch and Twitter at AndrewAJT62, which is also in the description. And let me know if you guys want to see streaming too, because sometimes I've been doing bossing and with my friend, and we're like, hey, we should stream this. So if you guys would be interested in that, let me know. So it might be fun. Anyway, guys, like I said, make sure you definitely vote on Dragon Claws and let me know what you think, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.